You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
I mean, digitally wise or even entrepreneurship, I think some people get overwhelmed with knowing somebody's story and they're so successful and they feel like.
Welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am your host with the most feel better, and today is a super sexy episode of the podcast. I am pleased and so thankful to have Helen Edwards on the podcast from Sexy Freedom Media, an accomplished author, accomplished innovator in the digital marketing space. So without further ado, I'm just going to just shut off and let you guys listen to this amazing conversation and how grateful I am to her.
There we go. Awesome. Okay. So the podcast is very simple. It's just a little bit about your story, how you got into the digital entrepreneur world, and that's pretty much it. So thank you again for filling in for my my missing guest.
Okay.
So you're going to be the penultimate of the season. So you're the 28th, I believe, of January you're going to be dropping. So
okay.
I'm in the midst of season 2 and I'm like, what? Season 1 guest fell out. Oh no. So
that's so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So you're going into season 2?
Yeah. So we're finishing up season 1.
Okay.
All of them are recorded except for the guest who was supposed to be like last week. And then season 2 is also recording at the same time because I was silly and I was like, let's try and record 2 seasons at once.
Yep.
Learned my lesson the hard way. So I'm in the middle. So you're my last season 1, which is awesome because it makes life a little easier. But anyways, so without further ado, do you want to give yourself a quick introduction? Let the world know who you are, what you do, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Are we starting right now?
Yeah, we're starting right now. We started like 5 minutes ago. I just didn't want to tell you.
Let me catch up.
Yeah, there we go. Run up.
Okay. Yes. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name's Helen Edwards. I am an author, speaker, yoga instructor, retreat leader, Etsy shop owner, chick of all trades. I guess you can say wear many hats.
That's amazing. You're also a podcaster. Can't forget that.
Oh yeah, I'm a podcaster too. I had to add one more.
Yeah, just add the hats on top, and that's amazing. So, what was the first thing you did? What was the first thing that you really jumped into? Was it being an author, a yogi, podcaster? Okay. What was the first thing that what kicked you into entrepreneurship?
Wow. First of all, Phil, nobody's ever asked me that question. I really appreciate it because that's something that's actually pretty extraordinary. So the first thing I actually jumped into, the first hat I started wearing was the speaking hat. I started public speaking about 12 years ago, maybe 13 now. I feel like I've been saying 12 years for so long. Maybe it's already jumped a year. You know how you got that line with you?
It's been 18 years. That was 18 years ago. I mean, it's been 36 years I've been doing this job. Time flies.
Yeah.
So public speaking, so you were doing this whole circuit?
So I jumped into public speaking by accident, kind of because somebody didn't show up, and I was more the person that puts everything together. And then when they didn't show up, I did, not to lose face, I had to kind of fill their spot also, which was the spot of public speaking. And it was actually at a shelter, so it was all volunteer work. But
Okay.
I knew all the material, so the only really person that could stand up there and do it was me. So yeah, I started there. Had no
That's-
public speaking experience, classes, courses, or anything.
So you
jumped
just
right
went
in.
like, oh God, and you just took the plunge. You took that 10 seconds of courage, and well, now you're a multi-company owner, so that's impressive.
Yeah.
So it was at
Crazy.
so you were organizing the event, and the person was a no-show or something happened. They didn't show up. You took the baton and finished up and did apparently an amazing job, since now it's like your forte. How did that snowball into being like an Etsy shop owner or author, a pub, everything, hat wearing, awesome female entrepreneur?
Yeah. So it happened through kind of like a snowball effect, it's kind of like it's kind of like a service you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you realize like you want it a certain way. If you're kind of a perfectionist or like a big time, maybe like some OCD or super anal about things, which I'm all of those things. There's certain ways you want something. And like they say, if you want something done a certain way, do it yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it started off by hiring people or getting people like the speaker on that platform. And the vision didn't come out the way I wanted it to. So instead of complaining or finding somebody else, I was like, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to figure out how to do it myself. So that's what kind of started me in all of the areas except the yoga. That kind of came unexpectedly itself.
Well, it's funny enough. I started doing yoga last year, and it helped me in my weight loss journey. And I'm going to be definitely picking it back up. COVID really messed with my yoga everything. Thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
But no, how has COVID impacted your speaking? Do you still do the speaking tours and that? And like,
so, okay. Yeah, that's a good question too. So the beginning of January 2020, I held a speaking event in Vegas, in-person speaking event called Beyond 2020. And it was supposed to be a women's empowerment event and turned into both men and women because both showed up, which is awesome.
that's amazing.
And it was amazing. It was really great. I had a really great experience. I was on fire, and we were about to start planning to do some more. And then for some reason, it was just on my heart to maybe take a little tiny break. And just because I do so many things, I wanted to kind of hold off on planning my next speaking event. And I'm glad I did, because that's when the whole COVID and shutdown happened. So I took that opportunity to get out of the city, do some traveling. And then I was like, okay, well, since speaking in person and doing yoga classes and retreats is kind of on hold, what else do I want to do that I can, I'm a big believer in multiple streams of income. And I realized, I have my books and I have my apparel, and I always wanted an online shop. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do Etsy. So I tried my hand at Etsy, and now I have my books or signed copy books, the my apparel, a limited edition apparel, my warrior jewelry, I call it, made out of, deer antler and elk. I've got my smudge fan feathers made out of real feathers, real animal fur, everything. That's big on my culture. So yeah, so now I've got a few items already on there. It's doing pretty well.
That's amazing how you felt it coming, and you said, I'm going to shift, and you did that full shift, and your business must have exploded since then.
It's done pretty good. It's doing well. I miss working with people in person. So I'm trying to do, like a virtual events, shift them over to virtual. You just got to roll with it and see what works and what doesn't. Keep tweaking it until you like it and they love it.
That's true. And I love how before you were talking about, if it's the quote, if it's not perfect for you, make it, And it harks back to what Donnie said in the first season. Like my first guest, he says, like, build it and they will come. And like you're building your perfect business, the perfect stream of income for you, multiple streams into one that helps you live the life that you want. And you're manifesting it because you took the baton over 12 years ago to do that first public speaking, you know. I'm pretty sure you didn't see yourself here 12 years ago or 13, 14 years ago, how many years you said it was.
Yeah. No, I mean, I didn't start a business 12 years ago. I was more doing it. I did volunteer speaking for 4 years. So I didn't think about turning it into a business. I actually started a little small one called Conscious Cool. And I really didn't know what I was doing with business. And I had like 2 full-time jobs, a full-time party schedule, you know, so it was like, I didn't really know how to focus and hone in on business and make money for myself until years later. I really started seeing what other people were doing. And I was like, I need to jump on that bandwagon. Yeah. Obviously I started maturing too.
Yeah. I see that too with from my first podcast to this, and my more need to get my life in order so that I could have the dream that I was dreaming when I was a kid, you know, that financial freedom dream, you know, that we all have, that our parents tell us, you can be whatever you want. Just go down and be a lawyer instead, or be a banker. You know, that's the safer thing. Become one of those. And I think our generation is really seeing that change, that the unhappiness. And I think a lot of people are shifting their mindset into like, how can I be happier? Like money isn't the goal, but money brings me to the happiness, you know, like if I can just get my minimal happiness of money, I can move on and do everything else I wanted to then to find that passion.
Yes. So you started a year ago, right? Your podcast? 2 years ago? I mean, we were kind of talking about this.
My first podcast was about 4 years ago. I've been podcasting about 5 years.
Awesome.
My first podcast was a movie podcast about movies and TV and entertainment. Did that for a solid 3 to 4 years, and then 2020 happened and it burnt me out. And then I started going to therapy and like healing. And in November of last year, I was like, I'm doing it again. I'm going to do a podcast. I want to figure out how these people live, like the digital entrepreneur. How do they do it? So I started this podcast for it, and I've been getting amazing guests. My season 2 guests are, I'll tell you off air, but like, oh my God, what I have so far.
It's exciting. I know the feeling.
You're like, oh, this is cool. I got this one guest, and then this one guest turns into this other guest, and then all of a sudden you're speaking with like Fortune 500 CEOs, and you're like, how did that happen? Yeah. And so like that's been great. Like this podcast has gotten me in touch with a lot of people and a lot of amazing mindsets. Like the last couple of episodes I've had a lot of people with mindset and mindfulness and manifestation mindsets. And so it's like, I think that's where the world is kind of like going to. People are learning that their mind is more powerful than what we were led to believe.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. I like what you said about having the guests. I can feel your energy and how excited you get. And I feel the same way as a podcaster myself. I've been doing mine for about 3 years. And I remember, because I've got my hand in so many pockets, I once told my friends about 2 years ago, I was like, I'm going to stop doing this. Like, this podcast is a waste of time. I'm not making any money off of it. I just feel like it's something I was doing for fun. And now it's just become like a little bit of a weight I'm dragging around. Like, oh, I got to do a podcast. I wasn't enjoying it. And then a friend of mine said, you know, you need to just keep doing it. You need to keep going with it. And just, you know, find ways to make it work for you. It's free marketing and all. She just made a lot of great points. And then I realized something really important about podcasting that kind of shook me. And same with the book and a lot of the other things I do on social media is I realized it's a capsule. It's a memory capsule. And, you know, when I lost my brother a few years ago, I search online all the time looking for little tidbits of new things he said, things he wrote. And I realized if anything happened to me, or if anything happened to anybody I love, you know, out there, I really hope I can just, you know, stalk them, stalk their profiles, listen to their voice on, you know, if they got podcasts or YouTube channels. Like, I'm always encouraging it now, just because it is more of a capsule, a kind of like a legacy you're leaving behind, a digital legacy.
It is. It's amazing because it's the first time in human history that we have the ability to do quick video as well as quick audio capsulation. Like if we think back in the early 1900s, the photograph, how long it took the photograph to develop, and then it got the instant camera, then we got the big huge VHS video cameras, to now it's in your cell phone. Like you have a whole department of production in your phone.
Yes.
And like they said, 24 hours are uploaded every minute on YouTube.
Yeah,
so,
it's
like,
fascinating.
It's amazing. Like obviously if YouTube goes down, that's all disappears, but like we're going on that YouTube won't. The history that's going to be recorded for anthropologists and sociologists going forward, they don't have to wonder, what were they thinking at this time? Hold on. This is it. They were on this PewDiePie thing. We don't know what PewDiePie is, but we know it was a cultural event. And
yeah.
And even going with like the COVID, like we have a historical marker. Before we had the pictures, the written word for the flu of the Spanish flu, but now we have like live updates about like what happened, and it's a time capsule for our future generations to learn about us. Like now we don't have to have these stories like, oh yeah, so your great grandfather, he was kind of a good guy, you know, great stand-up guy. No, here, listen to how great your grandfather was. Like here's a story.
Yes,
from
listen.
him.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, my dad got us as a gift. Every Christmas we read The Night Before Christmas, and he recorded the story for us to give to our kids. And my sister just recently had a son, and so like,
congratulations, new
thank
uncle.
you. Oh, I'm the funkle. I'm the best. He's 2 years old. He's a it was really hard not having his first conscious Christmas because he knows what Christmas is.
Yeah.
So it was like kind of hard having it virtually and not seeing him there. But my sister was telling us that he would always ask for Papa Santa. And so my dad's name is Poppy for the grandkids. So it's Papa Santa. And it's like, no, he's not Santa. He is, but he's not Santa. No, he's like Papa Santa, holding up the book. So my dad could read the story to him. And so like that just like broke everyone's heart. And like just that, I'm like, that's amazing. That's simply amazing that we can do that and pass that joy to our kids, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're a Funko, but what would it be for an aunt if she's a fun aunt? Would it be Fanty?
That could go wrong. I don't know what would a fun aunt be. I don't know. I'm also the god auntie. I don't know. I don't know. That's a good question. I have to think about that. What would be the awesome aunt, the fun aunt, the
I know, they're like stumped
for the whole podcast. I'm going to be thinking about this, coming back to it, and just like randomly shoot out like, what about this? Does this work? I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's thinking right now, is it Fanty? Is it Funt? With like that sounds really bad.
Is it a font? No, I don't know.
Maybe it sounds better with an accent. A Fonte.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how many people I may have just insulted there with that horrible accent. But yeah, no, I love that we have this time capsule, like you said, and it can bring joyous memories. And you were saying how before the people who have ADHD or like perfectionists, they have a problem with putting things out. Like I had the biggest problem because I was so nervous that it wasn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get over that? Because like public speaking, like first of all, public speaking is a number one fear of nearly everybody in the world. How do you get over it?
Oh man, you know what? I'll never forget my first time. I told one of my friends I was going to do it, and he gave me the best advice. He said, just be yourself. So I went up there and I said, this is what happened, and this is why I'm here today. And I'm just going to tell you, we're doing this together. Like, you know, I'm on this journey. We're all starting at the starting line. I'm not above you. I'm not, years and years of professional. And it started there. And I think that took a lot of the weight off, and people afterwards came up to me and they hugged me and stuff and told me it was their first time hearing some of the stuff I said. And I think that moment really it was profound for me. It made me realize, well, as long as I look at it like we're all starting from the same line, no matter where somebody's at, because we don't know what happened before we got on this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
We don't know if somebody's going through a divorce on the side. We don't know what's really going on. Like you said, you're talking to a bunch of guests who are talking about mindfulness and maybe some shift changes in their lives. And I think awareness, in fact, my first public speaking workshops were on awareness. And I'm such a big advocate of that, because if you have awareness, you can think a little bit more like a larger perspective than just like, a little bit more of a
it's so true. Like you're going from the macro to the micro. Like if you're not only concentrating on this moment and you're just too focused here, you're going to miss out all these big picture events that you're missing. Like I don't know how many I may have missed in the past like 4 years with me being so focused on like things that weren't important in my life.
Right. Yeah.
So like, and now I'm like looking back and I'm like, well, I'm going to have to get clients for my business. And then all of a sudden 4 clients just pop out of nowhere. And I'm like, well, this is odd. Does this happen?
Yeah.
I don't know what else. Oh God.
I think, and I'm just going to touch down on that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
One of my big mantras is feel the fear and do it anyways. I read a book by Susan Jeffers many, many years ago, probably about 10 years ago. And it really just stuck with me for the last 10 years. So anytime I'm like feeling fear, I'm like, feel the fear and do it anyways. And I'm a big believer in retraining your brain. I'm like fascinated by the brain. Some of the earliest books I've read were all about the brain and how it really determines where you're going to go in life, especially if you look at people who've been through major physical injuries. It's the brain, their mindset that helps them get through it, right? So the mind and brain is very, very powerful and can be retrained. So I would go to sleep listening to subliminal YouTube videos, because at the time I wasn't doing podcasts, subliminal hypnosis, all the free ones. I listen to motivational videos every single morning. I'm not kidding. Like, I didn't care if I was sick, I was listening to them because I just wanted to train my brain. And you don't see it happening, but I'm telling you, when you start retraining your brain, one day you're like, I don't want to do this. And then your brain's like, listen here, you're doing it, and it's like, whoa, where'd that come from? Because you trained it, you retrained it like an animal. You're an animal. You're a beast. No,
it's true. You have to it's one little thing a day. Like you started with this one thing, and I noticed it, like looking back now, I see it more clearly, but I started with just opening my blinds in my apartment every morning. First thing I did, like during my burnout, was like I had the time off, rested, but every morning open the blinds, just let the sunlight in. Doesn't matter how bad you're doing, as long as the light's in. We'll start with that. And then
I like that too.
The second week was, okay, you're making your bed. Open the blinds, make your bed. And just like slowly, and I had set the goal of 2 months. 2 months I'll be at least 50%. I'll be able to go back and do the job and not be completely killed, And within 2 months, I was far surpassed my goal because I had taken actionable things. I had set the goal and, okay, what do I have to do? Small by small. And I've noticed that because I started that little positive mind frame by just every day, and I reset myself. Like if I miss something or I have a bad day, I just reset the next day and I start back at the first simple thing, open the blinds. And I found that like it helps you, like every time you miss the step, by just restarting, you jump forward even faster. You get back to where you stumbled even quicker.
Yeah, Phil, well, what you just said, and I'm going to point out, and a lot of people ask, probably, I mean, I know they ask me, and I'm sure they ask you and a lot of your guests, how did you get there? What did you do? You nailed it just on the head. You said, I did this, just that little small, simple step of opening, right? Opening your blinds. Like that little step is, I think a lot of people forget, none of us just got here by just jumping over one, little bench. We did a lot of bench jumping or whatever.
There was a lot of obstacles in our way.
A lot of obstacles. Yeah. And I mean, digitally wise, or even entrepreneurship, I think some people get overwhelmed with knowing somebody's story and they're so successful and they feel like, oh my God, I don't think I can get there, right? Because they're looking at what they've already accomplished. And I like to break down things, like break it all the way down and make people feel like, hey, we are still at the same starting line. Because my new goals now seem really big, just like your goals seem really big right now. So
yeah, I have a big goal that every once in a while this month I get like, it's only 15 days into the month, and I get like anxiety from the goal, and I'm like, it's fine, it's 10, 11 months away, like relax, bro.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh my God, will I make it? It's like, you have to take that moment and just like, you sometimes have to push it down, because it's like, yo, it's everything's gonna work out. Look at everything. Right. It's like retraining your brain.
Yeah.
Like you said, like small little things. And luckily, previous guest, actually just before we recorded this one, he told me that his morning routine, his mindful morning routine that he gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning for, which still blows my mind, because 3 o'clock in the morning is when I used to go to bed.
Yeah.
When I was younger.
Yep.
But he would get up, he would do the mindful meditation, then watch he would do yoga. Mm-hmm. Then he would do an hour of reading, and then motivational videos on YouTube. Then he would just sit and commune with nature. And he lives in Costa Rica, so he's very lucky. He gets to listen to the howler monkeys and that. But like, I love how like it's very simple, but it opens him up for the day. He gets him ready and his engine racing for it. Do you have a morning routine that you do?
Yeah.
Or?
So this is actually funny. I'm going to mention this because I thought this was really important, because this kind of hit me in the face this morning. So I do have a morning ritual I do, and it's very similar to your past guest. I get up really early. I usually go watch the sunrise. I have my tea. I do some dancing while I'm making tea. I often record videos about it. Awesome. I do yoga. I'm really into weightlifting, so I do weights and I do yoga. Yoga is definitely a big part of it. Meditation, right? So one of what I usually go and speak about is protecting the throne. It's kind of what I coined a couple of years ago, and it's big on my public speaking and also my yoga retreats. And it's all about nurturing the warrior within, because everybody's claiming to be a king or a queen, so, well, who does all the work? Who slays the dragons? Your warrior does, right? And also because my culture is native and Spanish, so I'm really in touch with my ancestral knowledge. And I think about this because this morning, and we all have this, so I'm just using my example for this morning. My hormones were really off. As a woman, 40 years old, even younger, even men, we all have hormones, right?
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes they dictate our day or our hour. I mean, something feels off. You're doing everything. You're doing the morning ritual. You're doing the meditations, the motivations. You're drinking all the healthy, holistic whatevers to help you boost your serotonin, dopamine, right?
Yeah.
You're just like, I'm ready to like kill somebody, right? And you're like, what the heck? And, for women, sometimes it's PMS. We don't know. But, I think that's where it comes with awareness. Like, okay, I could feel me just screaming within, like something's off. And nothing, all my tools, I'm pulling out everything, nothing's working. This is why I teach protecting the throne, because I had to unleash my warrior, like, hey, sit down. I'm about to take care of this. We're about to go in there. We're about to dig deep, and we're about to go in and find the source of where this pain is, whether it's your hormones are off, whether it's something triggering you, something feels, an emotional trigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had to go in and dig in. Right.
Not feeling, what's jamming the system.
Right. So sometimes, our rituals are really, really, really important, but when they're not working, you've got to have a backup plan. You've got to have it because you don't want it to take over and destroy everything you're about to build for the day.
Yeah.
So I do have more. The answer to that was yes, I do. But I also, I'm a big believer that, spirit or whatever you want to call it. For me, it's like spirit owns my warrior, owns the throne, right? Is when it's calling for you to listen, there is no ritual or routine. It's sit down and listen to me right here, right now, So I got that too.
But that's really important because it does play into that, like the hustle and like grind mentality. Sometimes, no, the grind and the hustle, and you need to take a step back. And I'm learning that too, because like sometimes I'll be pushing myself and then afterwards I'll take that one day off and I'll feel bad, but I know my body needs it. But then my mind starts going, well, yeah, but you could have done this, and this, and this.
Right.
And it's trying to regulate, like trying to create my empire, trying to create my kingdom, but also my warrior, like my worker has to take some time off, has to relax. Like,
yes.
They're doing they're hustling, they're pushing you to make sure that you get your goals and reach your kingdoms and that.
Yeah.
But if you don't take care of that, that's where I think the burning the candle at both ends is, because you can be your king and rule, but you also have to be that micro and be the person doing all your work if you haven't hired the person to do it.
Yeah. Isn't that pretty crazy though, Phil? Like, listen, while I'm listening to you and I'm kind of aware of what I'm talking about, it trips me out. And this is why I'm such a big, I'm fascinated by human development, because when you're talking about your kingdom, and I'm talking about it too, and we're talking about ourselves. We're talking about like these multiple workers or multiple doers or beings inside of us, right? And it's so freaking weird and crazy and trippy. And then we're over here like physically on the external world building these empires, whether it's online or in person. But then we got this whole world going on inside, like get out of your way, shoo, and then it's like, oh wait, well, you know what I mean? It's like, what the hell is going on here?
It's different because I think so I had a guest for season 2. So for people who don't know, Helen actually is a lifesaver because she's going to be she's the final guest. I'm recording for season 1 while recording for season 2 because the season 1 guest fell out. So she's a lifesaver. So I'm always very happy when lifesavers come into my life. I called it into existence. But some of my season 2 guests were talking about how there's a shift now from like male energy in the business world and in the world to a more feminine, caring energy and more nurturing energy. And it's like a yin and a yang. You can't have one without the other. And if you try and go too hard on the other, you'll lose out. And I think with like the 80s and the 90s and most of the 2000s, we got hit hard with a lot of, like that strong, like men are powerful in this. And so we lost that creativity and we lost that inside of us. Well, women didn't lose it. Women always had it. They obviously, you guys create life. So you always have that yin and the yang. You always have that the man and the masculinity and the femininity. Whereas the men, unfortunately, we have to nurture that. We have to learn to nurture it. And I think we're a lot of people who have studied the Eastern philosophies, but also in Canada, they're First Nations, but in the US, it's Native Americans, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't want to make any mistakes and insult anyone there, and you guys have this like Mother Earth, and Eastern philosophies have that universal connectivity where I feel that is very in line with the feminine energy in business and that. And building, you need both of them. Like if you're working outside, you need to build, you need the tools, but you also need these brains, right? You can't do one without the other. And I think when people start looking inside themselves and developing themselves, human development, it's taking both those energies, that yin and the yang, the femininity and the masculinity, and building a better person.
Yes. I like that word that you chose to use too, development. Like it's so important because like you and me both, and I can tell you may be similar in this way where we're very hard on ourselves, especially as entrepreneurs. We're ecstatic. We're building. We're a force to be reckoned with. We're all about it, right? We're very fast paced. And because of that, we can be really hard on ourselves. Like you were saying, I can completely relate with that. And the feminine and masculine energy, if that's off balance too, of course, everything's going to be off balance. If your spirit feels like it's not, one with you, of course, you're going to feel like you're living somebody else's life instead of your own. So there's these things, there's signs. Like, I was in a podcast yesterday and I was telling Tammy, there's signs that you see, you feel, you hear, and you can choose to pay attention to them or ignore them. Like this morning, I could have been like, no, sweep it under the rug. I'm going to be fine. Oh, I'm going to be fine, and
and then you come in and you don't have this great energy. And I've had podcasts where that, like, I didn't have that good energy. Like it was on me. The onus was on me because I was like, I'm going to force my way through it. And that was the old mentality.
Right.
And it didn't suffer because luckily the guest was a very good guest and was able to bump the energy up, but I wasn't proud of it. It's not my greatest work.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to be even more critical because I am a perfectionist, which I hate being a perfectionist. It's the worst thing because we grew up like, what's the perfect answer to what's your greatest quality? Well, I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Where no one's perfect. Like nothing in life is perfect. And I think because we had that mentality, mainly for me, I'm guessing for you as well, of you have to be perfect. You need to be like straight A students, while you're going through school and all that. And it screws you up for later in life because when you want to be as creatives, because I think entrepreneurs are really creative people in their core because they have to create a business, so they have to take that risk. So being creative and being told you have to be perfect, that stifles the creativity because you're too scared to be bad at doing your thing, like drawing or playing the guitar or creating businesses. But I think now we get this cultural shift and mind shift and knowledge shift because of the internet. I think we're seeing a lot more people being free to be creative because before, if you were creative, you were a poor artist or a drunk writer, or you were the get-rich-quick schemer. But but now with YouTube, you have kids as young as 20, making millions of dollars.
For sure.
And it's like, or Joe Rogan, if you will, for podcasts, getting that exclusive deal. And that's everybody's goal as a podcaster. I want to get the Spotify deal.
I want to go with Joe Rogan.
Yeah. Joe Rogan,
Joe Rogan.
And I think, like, thankfully the internet is where it's at right now. And I think COVID kind of helped us. I think as bad as COVID was, because COVID was horrible, the social impact and the social growth, I think, is going to be great for the years to come. I think we're finally deciding to evolve from the caterpillar, and we're in our cocoon right now. And soon we'll be butterfly, and we're going to be flying in ships.
Yeah.
One spaceship so bad.
Yeah. I do too. I hope it's in our lifetime that we can see how that goes with everybody going to Mars.
Look, ever since Elon started with SpaceX, I'm like, okay. But now with the great shipping off into the International Space Station and more planned, I'm like, it's coming. Jetsons, here I come.
Yeah. I'm all about that too. I'm always like looking on Elon's stuff. I'm like, what did he say now? What did he say? He's such a cool character. I mean, you mentioned Joe Rogan. I've seen I'm such a JRE fan. So yeah, I get it.
I can't wait to see what's coming and the new world that's being created by creative people like yourself and somewhat like me, but more yourself because you've been in the game longer and you've been changing the game even more. So you're ahead, but like you said, we're all starting at the same starting spot.
Yeah, we are. And I think too, sometimes I feel like there's a lot of people like me who get caught up on what other people are doing. And, a lot of stuff that I try to help people on are things that I've battled through myself and gotten through. So I know what that's like. There's nothing I don't do. Like practice what you preach is big for me. Do what you say you're going to do is big for me. Don't just talk about, be about it. It's really huge. So that in itself is like, you're talking about that mind shift or that perfect, everybody feeling like they had to be perfect, straight A student. I mean, I was that girl, but I also was, if you swing too much, the opposite way, it's like, there's this idea of like, I got to be the baddest bitch, and oops, I don't know.
It's fine. Don't worry.
I don't know, so it's always like, I'm going to be the baddest bitch in the room. So then there's like a lot more that it swings like boom, so there's this perfect idea of a rebel, right? Mm-hmm. And I realized I played both parts, and I'm like, God, neither one feels like it's really me. And when I say really me, I think is more like spirit talking, because ultimately, like, peace is the most amazing feeling. Happiness is the most amazing feeling. Being in really good laughter, smiles, good feelings around people you love, that's ultimately like the best feeling in the world. Sex on top of that, but it's just
look,
it's like
sex, no matter how bad it is, it's still good sex. Like, it's true. It's like cold pizza.
If you're having it versus not having it.
Exactly. Like, go a year without it after going like a year with it. Tell me which year is better for you.
Jeez, that's a great question. God, I don't know about
I can
that.
answer that. I can tell you. Having a year with sex versus a year without sex. With sex is way better.
Ooh. Oh, yeah, okay, I guess so. Yeah. Okay,
it's like cold pizza. Like, if you eat pizza, like hot pizza, cold pizza. Well, for a white Irishman, it's perfect. It's fine. It's great.
Just shove it in my mouth. In your mouth. So I get dirty.
Sure. we'll just continue with that and hopefully don't get banned by any FCC.
Bleep.
Yeah, bleep this whole section. No, but it's, as you were saying, like, if you're happy, like, when you reached out to me and we started talking, like, honestly, you were my best friend because you used the hockey kid meme, and like right there I was like, I know 100% that this conversation, when we talk, will be friggin' amazing. It will be off the chains. I don't even know what we're going to talk about. And it has been amazing. I am truly honored to have you on the podcast. So I'm going to give you, she busts out the dab as well. I'm not going to try the dab because I look really ridiculous trying it. I did it once.
Apparently horrible. The kids think it's like way back in the day now.
It was like 3 years ago.
I know. Time moves fast. I'm telling you. I'm like, I just got it down. Come on.
Yeah. No, Ma, that's grandma's doing that now. Like, we ain't doing that no more.
Yeah.
What about the doogie? Do we do the doogie? No, we're not doing that anymore. No. Jesus. Or the Dougie. I don't know. As I was saying, I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You're going to be able to talk about whatever you want, any courses you have. It's all your time as a thank you for, one, being a guest on the podcast, and also being like a lifesaver so that I have a full season and not picking from season 2. So give me one second. Let me hide myself. Let's get this over here done. Boom.
All right.
It's all yours.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you for everybody who listens to Phil's show. He's an amazing podcaster. I can already tell his energy is so dynamic. So gratitude out for all of you who open your ears and your hearts to that. Also, I have a sexy self-love virtual online workshop going on in February 12th. Go check it out. You can find it on Hell of a Journey with 1L, sexyfreedom.com, or my Instagram, sexyfreedommedia. Reach out anytime, email us. I do want to give a shout out to all of you podcasters, all of you digital entrepreneurs, everybody out there trying to change the world for some good. I've said it before, I'll say it again. If there's kids out there that are suffering, they're being abused, there's people out there depressed, that just means there's still not enough of us. We still need to lift each other up. There is no competition. We need to band together and keep promoting each other because we need to become better adults for the kids out there. They need us. Thank you, Phil.
Jesus, the best close ever. I don't even know how to follow up with that. That's. I'm glad. First of all, I'm glad this is the penultimate for season 1 because you're leaving it on such a great message, and the final episode is just as amazing and filled with value. But you brought a mission to people, like help. Like I think that's what everybody should be doing. We should be helping. Use your tools to help others, lift others up, like you said. And I can't thank you enough for giving that message to my listeners and to future listeners as well. Thank you so much.
Well, Thank you, man. You're awesome.
Thank you. Well, first of all, thank you for the kindness. I just try and reflect the awesomeness I receive. So in essence, you're just as awesome as I am. And I want to thank you again for being on the podcast, Helen. And to the listeners, Ashley says thank you. And make sure you invest in yourself.
Guys, I had so much fun, and it was such an amazing time speaking with Helen about her journey, about the different challenges she's faced in creating her empire, if you will. She's just been so inspiring, and I've been following her on social media and on Facebook, and she's really inspiring me to be a better person. So the only thing I can really tell you guys is I really suggest you listen to her podcast because it's amazing, and you'll get so much from it, guys. So it's a great investment in yourself, and so that's what I'm asking you to do. That's today's call to action, is to check out her social media. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Your wealth makes you an irresistible target to online criminals. According to Saltus Wealth, 41% of high net worth individuals report having been victims of financial crime. Unfortunately, off-the-shelf digital security solutions aren't robust enough to protect high-profile individuals like you. So what can you do? Rely on Concierge Digital Security from Reputation Defender. Concierge Digital Security is not just another app to install, it's a team of experts working in the background to protect you and your family. Behind the scenes, Reputation Defender bundles a suite of best-in-class security solutions, covering virtually every aspect of your digital life, from digital identity to online privacy, identity fraud, insurance, and home device protection. Your concierge helps manage all of these for you. Visit reputationdefender.com/success to learn more or schedule your private consultation. That's reputationdefender.com/success.